The day starts with the usual hum of machinery, the soft hiss of airlocks cycling open, and the distant rumble of transport vehicles. I check my gear one more time. Holsters filled, comms active, ammo belts secure. The routine is ingrained now, a sequence of motions that plays out like clockwork. The facility sprawls across the rocky terrain, a cluster of modular buildings connected by narrow walkways and tunnels. Everything here is utilitarian. Reinforced metal walls, thick cables snaking along the ground, and flickering lights casting long shadows. The air smells faintly metallic, with undertones of something earthier that I cannot quite place. My team gathers in the briefing room, a small space crammed with screens displaying real-time data feeds and maps. We review today's objectives, monitor the extraction site, ensure security protocols are followed, and report any anomalies. The team leader nods at each point, his eyes scanning over us to make sure everyone is clear. Outside, the landscape rolls on endlessly, a patchwork of lush greens and muted browns. Trees cluster in pockets, their leaves rustling softly as wind brushes past them. But our focus is not on nature. It's on the network of pipes and machinery snaking through this terrain, each piece vital to the operation. I head out with my team, moving along the established paths that connect different sections of the facility. The ground beneath my boots is uneven, rocks jutting up in places where we've dug deeper into the rock face. We stay alert for signs of activity. Anything unusual could be a risk, and our job is to mitigate those risks. The extraction site looms ahead, a complex array of machines pulsing with light and sound. Workers move methodically around it, their movements efficient but rigidly structured. I notice the way they avoid eye contact, focused on their tasks as if anything else could break their concentration. My team splits up to cover different areas. I take my post near the main control hub, where data streams in from sensors scattered throughout the site. The air is thick with tension here. Even the machines seem more vigilant now that we're active. My comms crackle intermittently, relaying updates and status checks between us. The day progresses in a series of small tasks: checking security systems, patrolling designated zones, responding to minor alerts. Each action feels like another link in an unbreakable chain, reinforcing the importance of our roles here. The environment remains largely indifferent, a backdrop that shifts subtly but never challenges the dominance of our presence. As the sun begins its slow descent toward the horizon, casting long shadows across the landscape, I find myself pausing for a moment to take stock. My gear is still intact, my team is accounted for, and all systems are functioning as expected. There is no sense of accomplishment or pride, just the satisfaction that comes from doing what needs to be done. The day ends with another round of briefings and reports. We debrief on any incidents, discuss potential improvements, and prepare for tomorrow's schedule. The cycle continues without pause, each shift blending seamlessly into the next. The day starts with the standard morning check. I ensure all equipment is functioning, batteries are charged, and communication channels are clear. There is no need for a second look. Everything falls into place as expected. My role is to monitor the system, to be vigilant against any anomaly that could disrupt our operations. As I move through my tasks, the environment remains consistent but ever present. The air filters hum quietly, maintaining a sterile atmosphere within our compound. Outside, the flora rustles with an alien breeze, but it's just part of the background noise. My focus stays on the screens and consoles before me, interpreting data feeds and sensor readings. The interaction with my colleagues is brief and to the point. There are no idle chats or personal inquiries. Everyone moves through their tasks with efficiency. The work defines our interactions. We communicate only what is necessary for coordination and safety. No one questions the purpose of our mission. It's simply a given that this must be done. During the day, I perform maintenance checks on the extraction equipment, I followed the procedural checklist meticulously, noting each step as completed. There are no surprises. Every part aligns with the expected parameters. The gear is robust and reliable, designed to withstand the rigors of our environment without fail. The routine continues into the evening shift. As night falls, the external lights flicker on, providing a stark contrast against the dark canopy outside. My role transitions from active monitoring to passive surveillance. I sit in front of the sensors, ready to respond if anything deviates from the norm. The quietness is reassuring. It signifies that everything remains under control. Throughout these hours, my identity becomes intertwined with the tasks at hand. I am a part of this operation, not just an individual. My presence here is not defined by personal desires, but by the functional necessity of maintaining our systems. Each completed task reaffirms this reality on me. Role is essential and irreplaceable within the framework Valve established. As another day concludes, I feel a quiet satisfaction in having fulfilled my duties without incident. The work continues seamlessly, a constant flow of actions and responses. There is no room for contemplation or introspection. Every moment is filled with purposeful activity. This is where I am because this work must be done. The constant hum of the planetar's ambient noise fills my ears, a low and steady thrumming that feels almost like a distant heartbeat. It starts as an unmistakable presence, a reminder of the living world around me. As I go about my daily tasks, checking sensors, recalibrating equipment, it remains loud enough to demand attention. By mid-morning, the hum is still there, but it begins to blend with the background noise of machinery and communication systems. Eton's no longer an isolated sound, instead merging seamlessly into the symphony of operational sounds that fill the air. The planetar's presence feels less intrusive as I become accustomed to its rhythm. In the afternoon, I notice a subtle shift in how I perceive it. The hum is now barely noticeable unless I actively seek it out, my ears picking up on other details instead of the soft whirring of cooling fans, the occasional beep from sensors. Eton's, like the planetar's noise, has become part of a larger ambient backdrop. As evening approaches and I prepare for shift change, the hum feels almost imperceptible. My mind registers its presence, but it no longer commands my attention. The constant sound becomes background static, something I am aware of only in passing, as I focus on completing my final tasks before handing off to the next team. The planetar's noise continues as always, unchanging and steady, yet now it feels like a mere whisper compared to the louder mechanical operations surrounding me. I am used to it, not because I have adapted, but simply because it no longer stands out against the constant operational hum of the facility. The day progresses in a series of coordinated movements. My tasks interlock with those around me, forming an intricate web of activity that requires no words to maintain its rhythm. As I navigate the facility's corridors and workstations, my presence blurs into the collective flow. The hum of machinery becomes a constant companion, merging seamlessly with the background noise of clacking keys and whirring gears. My colleagues move alongside me, their actions predictable yet fluid. We transition from one task to another without pause, each motion a well-practiced choreography. There is no need for acknowledgement or recognition. Our roles are defined by the system, and we fulfill them with precision. The space around us is filled with the steady pulse of activity, each person contributing their part to the larger machine. The environment is neutral, neither hostile nor welcoming. It simply exists as a backdrop against which our work unfolds. My identity melds into this seamless operation. I am a component within a larger mechanism, indistinguishable from those around me. There is no sense of personal connection or camaraderie, only the shared objective of completing assigned tasks efficiently. As we move through the day, individual distinctions fade into insignificance. We are interchangeable cogs in a well-oiled machine, each performing our roles with practiced ease. The hum of machinery and the rhythm of labor blend together, creating a symphony of productivity that requires no emotional investment. My sense of self dissolves into this collective effort, becoming one with the process rather than standing apart from it. The day concludes as another successful cycle, marked by flawless execution and adherence to protocol. There was a quiet satisfaction in knowing my role was fulfilled without incident. The hum continues unabated, a constant reminder that the system operates beyond individual consciousness, sustained by the relentless flow of coordinated effort. I sit at my station, the hum of machinery blending seamlessly with the constant background noise of the planet. My fingers move over the controls with practiced ease, each action a familiar dance of switches and screens. The environment feels both distant and intimately known, its rhythms becoming second nature to me. The day's final report is due soon. I review my notes, ensuring all data is logged accurately. There is no room for error here. Every detail must be exact. The satisfaction of completing this task without incident fills me with a quiet sense of accomplishment. My identity merges seamlessly into the routine, each action part of a larger, unchanging process. The screen flickers to life as I input the final entries. Each keystroke feels deliberate, precise, a choreographed sequence that ensures continuity and reliability. The world outside my station remains indifferent, its presence constant but unobtrusive. My colleagues move around me with purposeful efficiency, their interactions brief and focused. As I finish up, I glance at the monitor displaying the day's operational summary. Everything checks out as expected, no anomalies, no disruptions. A sense of calm settles over me, a steady pulse of contentment that comes from knowing my role is fulfilled without complications. The routine feels workable and self-contained, each part fitting into place like pieces in an intricate machine. I save the report, confirming it has been sent to the necessary channels. My screen goes dark, signaling the end of another day's cycle. I stand up, stretching slightly before moving toward my locker to change out of my gear. The transition feels mechanical, each movement a part of the established routine. As I hang up my uniform and slip into something more casual, the sense of detachment grows stronger. Exiting the main hub, I walk through familiar corridors lined with humming machinery and flickering lights. The environment's constant hum blends effortlessly with the operational noises around me, becoming less intrusive by the moment. My steps are steady, each one part of a well-oiled machine where individuality fades into insignificance. Entering my quarters, I feel a sense of closure for the day. Each task completed, no issues to report, and everything in its place. The routine feels sufficient and complete. Nothing is missing, nothing unresolved. This is enough. The strictness and impersonality of my routine are essential for maintaining operational efficiency. Each task follows a precise protocol designed to minimize risk and maximize output. The rules I follow are not arbitrary dictates, but responses to the environmental conditions we face. Every safety margin, every scheduling detail is carefully calibrated to ensure stability and reliability. There is no room for emotional investment or personal connection in this setting. It would only hinder our ability to function effectively. Our environment presents constant challenges that demand attention: unpredictable weather patterns, volatile terrain, and the ever-present risk of resource depletion. These conditions necessitate a system devoid of sentimentality, where each individual acts as part of an interconnected whole. The impersonal nature of my role is not a personal judgment, but a practical necessity. The harshness I experience is not intended to be cruel. It is simply a response to the demands of our environment. Each rule and restriction serves a specific purpose in ensuring that we can continue our operations without interruption. My detachment allows me to focus on the task at hand, free from distractions or emotional burdens. As I move through my daily routine, each action is deliberate and purposeful. The quiet satisfaction I feel comes from knowing that every step contributes to the stability of the system. There is a sense of calm in this predictability, a reassuring rhythm that keeps us moving forward. It works because it has to, and there is no room for questioning or deviation. The environment demands strict adherence to protocols. Any deviation could lead to unforeseen consequences. The impersonal nature of my role is not about dehumanizing individuals, but about safeguarding the collective effort required for our survival here. Each person plays a critical part in a larger machine, and individuality can be seen as an obstacle rather than a strength. This system is not perfect, but it is functional. It allows us to operate efficiently and sustainably despite the inherent risks of our environment. The harshness is not a choice but a necessary condition for success. My role within this structure is essential. I am part of something larger that must continue to function without interruption. The quiet satisfaction in my work stems from knowing that each task completed contributes to the stability and longevity of our operations here. There is no room for emotional attachment, only purposeful action. This works because it has to. The throughput today was consistent with our projections. The extraction rate maintained stability despite the usual fluctuations in environmental factors. Each unit of resource gathered aligns with our loss margins and efficiency targets. Our operations continue to adapt dynamically, ensuring that we maximize yield while adhering to operational tolerances. The planet's variables terrain ruggedness, resource density, climate variability are all accounted for within our predictive models. These models dictate the pace and direction of our work, allowing us to balance extraction with environmental considerations. The numbers tell a clear story. Resource depletion is managed through calculated cycles that prevent unsustainable strain on local ecosystems. Losses are minimal when compared to gains, ensuring long-term viability. Each ton extracted contributes directly to sustaining the broader system's equilibrium. Converting discomfort into metrics provides clarity. The impersonal nature of our work simplifies decision-making processes, removing emotional interference and focusing solely on practical outcomes. Every action is a step toward efficiency, not just a task completed. Our role here is integral to maintaining balance. We do not deplete. We manage resources within defined parameters. The planet's resilience is a variable in our equations, allowing us to operate sustainably without compromising future needs. Throughput data shows that our methods are effective and necessary. Each unit of resource extracted supports the larger system, contributing to its stability and longevity. This operational rhythm is reassuring. It ensures continuity despite inherent risks. In summary, the work we do here is not just about extraction. It's about maintaining balance within a complex system. By adhering strictly to our protocols, we protect both our operations and the planet's well-being. The air conditioning hums steadily, a constant reminder of the machinery that keeps the station functioning. Today, the temperature regulation system feels slightly less efficient than usual, and I notice beads of sweat forming on my forehead despite the cool air. The humidity is higher than normal, making every breath feel heavier, but it's nothing unexpected. It's merely an indicator of the workload we're handling. The rhythmic beeping of sensors echoes through the corridors, their cadence, a familiar refrain that signals everything from resource extraction to waste management. Each beep carries information about the system's health and efficiency, and I track them meticulously on my console, adjusting parameters as necessary. The screens flicker with data streams, charts, and graphs, all interwoven patterns of numbers and codes that tell me what's happening beneath the surface. The machinery outside thrums louder today, a deep rumble that vibrates through the floorboards. It's the pulse of our operation, heartbeat confirming that every piece is moving in unison. I monitor the noise levels carefully, correlating them with the extraction rates and environmental impacts. The data shows us pushing at the edges of what's sustainable, but ETOS progress, and progress means growth. The constant sensory input, temperature fluctuations, sensor alerts, machinery vibrations saw, overwhelming to some, but for me, ETOS a necessary backdrop. It tells me where we are, succeeding, and where adjustments are needed. Every strain is an opportunity for optimization. Every discomfort a sign of our system's resilience under pressure. I take a moment to check the external conditions through a monitor screen. The visuals show the barren landscape outside, dotted with extraction sites that look like open sores against the natural terrain. They are stark reminders of what we do, but they also represent progress. Without these efforts, we wouldn't be here. The routine is demanding today, but ETON's predictable. I adjust parameters, recalibrate systems, and make strategic decisions based on real-time data. Each decision feels like a small victory in the grand scheme of things, sustaining our operations, ensuring stability, and moving forward despite challenges. The sense of accomplishment is palpable, even as the strain mounts. In this environment, discomfort aligns with productivity. Every beep, every vibration, every flicker on my console is data pointing to operational success. I'm at the heart of it all, making sure everything runs smoothly and efficiently, no matter how intense or challenging the conditions become. This is my role, and I execute it without hesitation. As I monitor the environmental readings and system outputs, a brief flicker of hesitation interrupts my usual focus. ETON's a fleeting moment where the routine feels slightly less certain, a subtle disturbance in the rhythm I've come to rely on. But immediately, I recognize this as an inefficiency, a minor glitch in my mental processes that needs correction. I remind myself that every doubt is an opportunity for refinement, not deviation from established protocols. The system's demands are clear and constant. Any wavering is merely an unnecessary complication. My role here is to maintain stability and balance, ensuring the operation continues without interruption. This is not about personal preference or comfort, but about necessity. With this in mind, I quickly realign my thoughts with the practical imperatives at hand. The environmental pressures are part of what makes our work meaningful and essential. Every task contributes to a larger purpose, one that requires precision and unwavering commitment. There is no room for doubt when the stakes are so high. I return to my duties, feeling renewed in my conviction. Each action reaffirms the importance of this work, the necessity of maintaining order amidst challenges. Clarity and efficiency I bring here serve a greater good, ensuring that our operations continue to thrive despite any internal hesitations. As I sit here amidst the relentless hum of machinery and the steady glow of screens, I am reminded once more of the precision required for our survival. Every adjustment, every calibration is a testament to the importance of this work. The environment's demands push me to greater heights of efficiency. Each challenge met with a solution reaffirms my place in this system. There are moments when the weight of responsibility feels heavy, but such thoughts are fleeting and unnecessary. My role here is clear: to maintain balance between resource extraction and environmental stability. This is not about sentiment or personal belief, it is about functionality. The impersonal nature of these tasks strips away any emotional interference, leaving only the practical imperative. Doubts arise occasionally, but they do not persist. They are mere blips in an otherwise ordered landscape. Each corrective action strengthens my resolve, reminding me that deviation from protocol leads to inefficiency and instability. There is no room for hesitation or questioning here. There is only the need to act with unwavering commitment. I am a cog in a larger machine, but this realization brings clarity rather than despair. My work is essential, contributing directly to the sustainability of our operations. The risks are real, yet they are managed through strict adherence to protocols and continuous monitoring. This system may not be perfect, but it functions as intended, ensuring that we can continue to thrive in this challenging environment. The strain I feel is a natural byproduct of the demands placed upon us. It is neither positive nor negativa. It simply exists. Accepting this fact allows me to channel my efforts more effectively, turning discomfort into productivity. The rhythm of my work provides a sense of security and purpose, grounding me amidst potential hazards. In conclusion, there is no room for doubt or emotional entanglement here. What remains is the stark reality of our existence, functional efficiency, and operational stability. This resolve brings with it a quiet satisfaction, devoid of any moral weight or personal reflection. It is enough to know that my actions contribute to the greater good, defined by necessity rather than idealism. And so, I continue, finding solace in the correctness of my path. I am adjusting the environmental controls again, fine-tuning parameters that once required minimal attention. The temperature regulation is becoming more nuanced, with subtle fluctuations demanding constant monitoring. Each tweak feels critical yet cumbersome. I must balance the system's needs against resource constraints meticulously. The machinery hums louder now, a steady drone that distracts from my focus, but also serves as a reminder of its importance. Sensor alerts flicker more frequently on the interface, their rapid succession challenging my ability to react promptly without missing crucial detail. Despite this, each alert is necessary, a signal for further adjustments and corrections. I notice an increase in redundancy in my tasks, performing checks that previously were superfluous but now seem essential. The feedback loop between my actions and the system's response feels elongated, introducing delays that require patience and vigilance to maintain equilibrium. Every step must be precise, every decision deliberate, as even minor deviations can propagate into larger issues. The environment itself adds its own layer of complexity. Temperature variations are more pronounced, requiring frequent recalibration to prevent overheating or cooling inefficiencies. The air conditioning units strain slightly under the load, their efficiency dipping just enough to necessitate additional monitoring and intervention. It is a delicate dance between maintaining stability and pushing systems to their limits. Despite these challenges, I continue to find satisfaction in each successful adjustment, recognizing that my efforts contribute directly to operational resilience. The system's demands are relentless, but adhering to the protocols remains non-negotiable for ensuring its continued functionality. Each moment of strain is balanced by a sense of accomplishment in overcoming it. The persistent sensory input and environmental feedback now feel like a constant companion rather than annoyance. They serve as indicators of my work's importance, signaling the need for heightened awareness and meticulous attention to detail. While the tasks require more effort, they also reinforce the necessity of my role in sustaining this intricate balance. As I monitor the system's health indicators today, a nagging sense of discord begins to surface. The dashboard readings show everything within acceptable parameters, yet there's an underlying unease that defies quantification. My projections are meticulous and logically sound, but they fail to capture something intangible, a subtle tension in the environment that does not align with the data. For instance, a recent calibration report indicated no issues with energy distribution, but as I walk through the facility, I notice flickering lights and sporadic humming sounds. The sensors aren't picking up any anomalies, yet these physical cues are hard to ignore. It's not just mechanical noise. There is an unsettling quality to it that feels out of sync. I consult the system logs for patterns or outliers, but find nothing significant. Each alert I address seems to resolve itself in the moment, only to reappear later with subtle variations. The consistency in my interventions should ensure stability, yet the environment remains restless and unpredictable. This morning's energy audit showed a minor fluctuation that was easily corrected by adjusting output levels. Yet as I move through the corridors, there's an odd sense of imbalance, like walking on shifting ground. My logical framework tells me it's just my perception playing tricks. But the physical sensation is real enough to be disconcerting. The discrepancy between what the system reports and what I experience feels like a widening gap that needs attention. The numbers suggest everything is fine, but my senses tell me otherwise. It's frustrating because I know how important precision and accuracy are in this role. Yet, it's becoming harder to reconcile these conflicting inputs without losing confidence in my methods. I continue to make adjustments based on the available data, knowing that each correction is crucial for maintaining overall stability. Yet, there's an underlying current of uncertainty that gnaws at me, feeling that something fundamental might be slipping through the cracks despite my best efforts. The flicker of lights, once a reassuring signal of stability, now feels erratic and intrusive. Each blip and pulse seems to carry more weight than before, demanding my undivided attention despite the effort to ignore them. My mind strains as it tries to reconcile these disturbances with the logical framework I've constructed. The nagging sensation that something is off persists, gnawing at the edges of my concentration. The air hums with a low-frequency vibration, an unsettling whisper that seems to shift and change without pattern. It's there in the background, impossible to ignore, but equally hard to focus on. This constant presence disrupts the mental clarity I rely on, making it harder to compartmentalize each task from the next. The hum is like a persistent reminder of my inadequacy, an undercurrent that threatens to undermine every decision. Sensors emit a subtle static noise, a barely audible crackle that grows louder with each passing moment. It's a sound I've grown accustomed to blocking out, but now it seeps into the cracks of my concentration. The sensors are supposed to provide clear data and feedback, yet their chatter feels like interference, distorting what should be straightforward observations. The environment feels restless, as if it was testing my resolve. Every adjustment requires more effort than before. Each successful intervention, a minor triumph, but also a reminder of the strain. The flickering lights and static noise are symptoms of this underlying tension, an unspoken challenge that I must navigate without faltering. Despite the discomfort, there's still a sense of purpose in maintaining order amidst chaos. The hum and crackle grow more persistent, less like background noise, and more like a constant intrusion. My mind flutters between focus and distraction, each moment of clarity followed by a wave of unease as I question my ability to manage it all. The environment asserts itself without intent, making every task feel slightly off-kilter. I push forward, determined to find the balance that will steady this fluctuating system. Each intervention is an act of defiance against the creeping uncertainty, but the effort required leaves me feeling drained and exposed. The hum and static continue their relentless presence, a reminder that despite my best efforts, something fundamental might be slipping through the cracks. I recalibrate once more, ensuring every parameter aligns precisely. It's a familiar process now, one I've repeated countless times, but each iteration feels increasingly necessary. The system behaves unpredictably, and the discrepancies between expected outcomes and actual data are growing. Yet, I know that each meticulous adjustment is crucial to maintaining stability. The environmental feedback loops are becoming harder to manage. Alerts flash incessantly, demanding attention at every turn. Each notification serves as a reminder of my role in this intricate dance of control. The pressure builds with each passing moment, yet I find solace in the routine, in the comfort of repeating what has worked before. I focus on the core logic underpinning everything. I am here to protect function. This is not an abstract concept, but a tangible reality that demands constant vigilance. Every deviation must be corrected, every anomaly addressed with precision and care. The environment may feel restless and chaotic, but it is my responsibility to bring order back into this intricate web of interactions. I repeat the steps mentally, reinforcing each action as if explaining them anew to myself. The logic is sound down, each parameter adjusted, each imbalance recalibrated. Etons, a reassuring mantra, one that anchors me amidst the chaos. Yet, there is an underlying unease, a nagging sense that something more is needed, though I cannot pinpoint what. The sensory disturbances are relentless, and they tug at my concentration. Each intrusion feels like a challenge to the established order, but I know I must stay focused. The environment may be unpredictable, but it is within my power to bring it back into alignment. This is not just about maintenance. It's about preservation, about ensuring that everything holds together. I remind myself again of the importance of precision and balance. Each adjustment might seem minor, but collectively, they are essential for maintaining the larger structure. The system may strain at times, but with diligent effort, it can be stabilized once more. This is my role, my responsibility, and I must not falter. The repetition becomes a form of reassurance, a way to reaffirm the necessity of each action. It's not just about correcting deviations. It's about reinforcing the foundational principles that keep everything intact. The environment may feel restless, but through meticulous effort, I can bring order back into this complex network. Despite the growing unease and the increasing complexity, I push forward with determination. Each adjustment is a step towards stability, each correction a reaffirmation of my role in maintaining function. This is not just about solving problems. It's about upholding the integrity of the entire system. The logic holds firm. I am here to protect, to ensure that everything remains in balance. I continue to monitor and adjust, reinforcing my understanding with every step. It's a familiar process, one that ought to be repeated often, but each iteration feels more critical than before. The environment may be unpredictable, but it's within my power to bring order back into this intricate system. The data streams continue to flicker, each update a meticulous dance of numbers and codes. I adjust the parameters with practiced precision, my fingers moving over the controls, almost reflexively. Yet every keystroke feels heavier than before, burdened by an unspoken weight that gnaws at the edges of my concentration. The environment pulses around me, a constant hum of activity that demands attention. It's both reassuring and unsettling. Reassuring because I know how to manage it. Unsettling because there is always something new to address, something off balance. Each correction seems to bring temporary relief, but the underlying tension persists, like an unresolved chord in a symphony. I can feel the strain in my muscles, the faint ache of fatigue building behind my eyes. The sensory inputs are relentless, notifications flashing with urgency, alarms chiming softly yet insistently. It tones as if every moment is a battle against entropy, each victory fleeting and conditional. The nagging uncertainty lingers like an uninvited guest, casting shadows on even the smallest successes. I remind myself that precision and vigilance are paramount, but the constant scrutiny feels less like a choice and more like a necessity imposed by an indifferent universe. Despite this, there is a strange comfort in the routine. Each adjustment is a step forward, a reaffirmation of control over chaos. Yet, beneath it all, I sense a subtle shift and erosion that threatens to undermine everything, if not constantly monitored. The system holds, but only when watched with unwavering vigilance. The pressure builds incrementally, each moment demanding more focus and effort than the last. It dawns as if the environment is testing my resolve, pushing boundaries just enough to keep me on edge without breaking. As I settle into this new rhythm of perpetual watchfulness, a sense of weariness settles over me. The world around me remains stable, but nothing rests anymore, Everything requires constant attention and intervention. The day stretches out before me, Each moment, a delicate dance between order and disorder, control and chaos. The screens before me flicker with alerts, a constant stream of data that requires immediate attention. Each notification triggers a sequence of precise adjustments, but the frequency of these interventions is escalating. The environment responds unpredictably, and the system's metrics show subtle yet persistent deviations from baseline norms. A series of small malfunctions begins to manifest. Sensors in remote areas fail intermittently, leading to gaps in comprehensive monitoring. These lapses allow for unobserved fluctuations that accumulate over time, causing a ripple effect throughout the network. Despite my meticulous recalibrations and compensatory measures, there is an undeniable sense that I am chasing after a moving target. The physical infrastructure around me starts showing signs of wear. Equipment that once hummed reliably now emits faint groans and clicks, indicating stress and fatigue. The air conditioning fails to maintain optimal temperatures, causing condensation on walls and equipment surfaces. This moisture introduces a new variable. Corrosion begins to set in, affecting the integrity of cables and connectors. Sensors placed at critical junctions reveal slight deformations in structural components. These minor distortions are not immediately catastrophic, but hint at underlying weaknesses that could become problematic if unaddressed. The cumulative impact of these stressors is evident in reduced operational efficiency and increased maintenance requirements. The environment outside the facility mirrors this internal decay. Vegetation nearby appears stunted, with yellowing leaves and sparse growth patterns indicative of nutrient deficiencies and soil degradation. Patches of barren earth suggest areas where once thriving ecosystems are now struggling to sustain life. The air carries a faint scent of chemical pollutants that disrupt natural processes. As I work through the latest set of alerts, my movements become more deliberate, each action calculated to counteract emerging issues. Yet, despite these efforts, I notice an increasing number of anomalies that defy simple solutions. Certain areas now require frequent manual intervention to maintain stability, a task demanding additional resources and time. The cumulative effects of ongoing challenges are not just operational but physical as well. My body feels the strain of prolonged vigilance, muscles tense from constant monitoring and adjustment. The mental toll is evident in moments of brief disorientation or fatigue-induced lapses in concentration. These minor disruptions compound over time, making it harder to maintain a steady pace. Despite these challenges, I continue to manage each issue as they arise, treating them not as signs of failure, but as operational realities that demand attention and correction. The environmental's degradation is visible and increasingly tangible, yet my approach remains one of methodical persistence, addressing each symptom as it appeared. The system alerts continue their relentless rhythm, each one punctuating the air with a sharp urgency. I move through the console room, my fingers moving methodically across the controls as I address the latest malfunction. The screen flickers intermittently, its glow casting eerie shadows on the walls that seem to shift and stretch like living entities in the dim light. My muscles are tight from hours of focused effort, but there's no time for rest. Each task demands immediate attention, a cascade of problems cascading into one another without respite. I check the status of the environmental systems next. The air conditioning is faltering, causing an uncomfortable rise in temperature that makes my shirt cling to my back with sweat. The physical wear is evident in every motion, each breath drawing in less oxygen than before. My vision blurs slightly as I focus on a particularly stubborn code error, and I pause momentarily, blinking rapidly to clear the haze from my eyes. The console hums quietly beneath my hands, its mechanical heartbeat synchronizing with mine. I reach for another diagnostic tool, swiping through menus to run additional scans. Each screen reveals more of what I already know. The system is fragile, teetering on the brink of collapse at any moment. There is a growing sense of inevitability about it, a law. No matter how many issues I resolve today, tomorrow will bring new ones. The room around me feels oppressive, the air thick with dust, and the faint scent of metal fatigue. My movements become more deliberate, each action weighed down by its own significance. The tasks are necessary, but they feel hollow now, like treading water against an undertow that only grows stronger. I turn to a secondary panel, initiating another set of checks on the power distribution network. Lights flicker and sputter as I navigate through layers of diagnostics, tracing circuitry back to their origins. The system's response is delayed, sluggishness creeping into its performance like a slow poison. With each passing moment, it becomes clearer that this is not just about fixing things. It is about managing the chaos that threatens to consume everything. There's no grand solution, only incremental steps against an ever-advancing tide of failure. I continue to work, not because there is hope for stability anymore, but because stopping would be worse. I move from console to console, my body aching with every step, yet driven by the unyielding need to maintain what little control remains. The room is silent except for the hum of machinery and the soft whispers of my breath. Each task feels like a minor victory, but the cumulative weight presses in relentlessly. The cycle continues, each day mirroring the last systems failing, repairs made, temporary relief followed by inevitable deterioration. There is no end to this process, only an endless loop of maintenance and decay. I persist because there is nothing else left to do. The alerts continue their relentless dance across the screens, each one a flicker of urgency that demands attention. My fingers move with an automated precision, typing out commands and solutions as if by rote. Yet, beneath this surface-level efficiency lies a creeping sense of inadequacy. Each fix I apply seems temporary at best, a bandage on a wound that will only grow larger. My muscles ache from the tension of constant vigilance. My clothes stick to my skin with sweat, and my vision blurs intermittently as fatigue gnaws at the edges of my focus. Despite these physical manifestations of strain, there is an unyielding drive within me to keep moving forward. It's not a conscious decision, but rather a compulsion, a sense that stopping is equivalent to failure. The room around me feels oppressive, its corners shadowed and silent. Every creak and groan of the aging infrastructure echoes through my mind like an unforgiving clock ticking down the seconds. The air is thick with dust and the smell of overworked machinery, a physical reminder of the system's decline. Yet, I continue to move, to assess, to act on, each action a nod to a protocol long ingrained. Recognition of damage comes gradually, not as a sudden realization, but a gradual awareness that creeps in alongside each new alert. The systems are showing signs of widespread failure, critical components failing one by one, like dominoes tipped over by an invisible hand. I can see the patterns, understand the implications, yet there is no leverage to change them. The room's decay is mirrored in my own state of fatigue lines, my eyes, and sags at the corners of my mouth. Every keystroke feels heavier, each decision more taxing than the last. But stopping is not an option. It would be admitting defeat, a relinquishing of control that I cannot afford to do. In this moment, awareness exists without control. The damage is clear, stark in its inevitability, yet there is no room for emotional response or personal reflection. It's simply a fact laid out before me like the cold logic of an equation. My body and mind work in tandem, addressing each issue as it arises, but knowing full well that these are small victories in a larger battle already lost. The world around me continues its mechanical progression, indifferent to my efforts. The systems absorb individual agency, reducing actions to mere fragments of a grander process. Despite this, I persist, automated, relentless, and aware, without the capacity to alter course. The alerts continue without pause, each one a subtle nudge to shift focus from the task at hand. My fingers dance across the keyboard with practiced precision, but beneath the surface, my mind begins to split into fragments of attention, dividing itself between multiple tasks that demand simultaneous resolution. The room of ambient noise, a distant hum, and occasional mechanical whining provides a constant backdrop to this relentless cycle. As I address one issue, another crops up almost immediately, creating a sense of an unending treadmill. Each fix is temporary at best, providing only momentary relief before the next wave crashes over me. Physical environment mirrors my state. Machinery groans and creaks as it strains under the load, while flickering lights cast erratic shadows across the walls. This mechanical cacophony reinforces a sense of instability. Yet there is an unspoken rule that each malfunction must be met head-on. The system demands attention in a way that feels both urgent and futile. Every corrective action I take is a nod to its complex web of dependencies, where fixing one component inevitably triggers another set of issues elsewhere. This cyclical nature creates a feedback loop that seems to favor continuation over repair. Each step forward pulls me deeper into the morass rather than pulling me out. My body reacts to this stress with tension and fatigue. Muscles ache from prolonged periods of high alert, while my eyes burn from hours of intense concentration. Despite the mounting physical discomfort, there's an unspoken directive that pushing through is essential. Each momentary success feels hollow against the backdrop of ongoing failure, yet it provides a semblance of control in an otherwise chaotic environment. The room itself becomes a character, pressing down on me with its oppressive weight. Dust particles float lazily in the dim light, settling onto surfaces and underscoring the passage of time that seems to move inexorably forward despite my best efforts. The decay around me serves as a constant reminder of the system's entropy, yet there is no escape from this trajectory. In this unyielding cycle, each small victory feels like an acknowledgement of progress, rather than a resolution. The feedback loops reinforce a sense of ongoing action, creating an environment where continuation is prioritized over correction. This structural bias is not imposed with malice, but operates as a force of its own, a relentless momentum that moves forward regardless of the toll it takes. Despite the mounting evidence of failure, there's a compelling inertia to keep moving, driven by a sense of duty and a fear of the alternative. The environment presses down on me, yet I persist, navigating through the complexities with a detached precision. Each moment is a step in a larger process that continues unabated, guided not by intent, but by an unwavering demand for action. The room hums with a persistent, unchanging rhythm that mirrors my own mechanical pacing. Each beep and buzz of the systems registers as familiar, almost comforting in its predictability, despite the chaos they signify. My movements have become routine, repairing circuits, rerouting power, and patching connections that are both necessary and futile. My muscles ache with a dull, constant pain, but it no longer demands immediate attention. The sweat on my brow is a steady stream that I barely notice now. The fatigue feels like a permanent state rather than something to be overcome. It's simply part of the background noise, as integral to me as the air I breathe. The room itself has taken on a life of its own, an unyielding entity that dictates the pace and limits my actions. Dust gathers in corners and the once sharp edges of machinery dull with wear. Yet, this decay is no longer alarming. It's just another aspect of reality that must be managed. I wipe away a layer of grime from a console screen, noting how the smudges linger despite my efforts. Alerts flash across screens with increasing frequency, but each one triggers less reaction than before. There's an acceptance in their appearance, a resignation to the fact that they will continue unabated. Each small victoria, stabilized system here, a temporary fix there, brings only momentary relief. The cycle of action and consequence has become predictable, almost comforting in its unyielding nature. I move through tasks with detached precision, my mind calculating probabilities and outcomes without emotional attachment. There is no room for hope or despair. These are simply distractions from the work at hand. Each success is fleeting, overshadowed by the inevitability of failure that follows closely behind. The air is thick with the scent of ozone and decay, a combination that once would have been overwhelming, but now feels like home. My vision blurs occasionally, but I correct it without pause, adjusting my focus to maintain operational efficiency. The room's oppressive atmosphere presses down on me, yet there's no urgency in escaping its confines. This is how things are now, I continue, driven by an unspoken mandate to keep the systems running, not because of any grand purpose or personal investment, but simply because it must be done. Each task completed is a marker of survival amidst chaos, a small dot on an ever-expanding canvas of struggle and resilience. The environment's mechanical noises blend with my own labored breaths, creating a symphony of inevitability. There's no grand revelation or sudden shift in perspective. Things are simply what they are. I persist because that is all there is left to do. The room is dim, with flickering lights casting shadows on the walls. Mechanical hums and occasional beeps fill the air, punctuated by distant alarms that seem less urgent now. My body moves through tasks without thought or setting circuits, replacing damaged parts, rerouting power lines. Each action is a familiar routine, performed with practiced precision. My muscles ache from constant tension, but I barely notice it anymore. The sweat on my brow and the cramps in my hands are just part of the day. The air is thick and heavy, laden with the scent of overheated metal and ozone. Eton's oppressive yet familiar, a constant reminder of what remains to be done. I check the status screens one more time, scanning for anomalies. There are always some new ones popping up like weeds after a storm. I address each issue methodically, knowing that no matter how many I fix today, there will be more tomorrow. The cycle is endless but predictable now, a dance of maintenance and failure. The room's decay is evident everywhere. Cracked tiles, exposed wiring, and rusted pipes speak to years of neglect and wear. Yet, amidst the deterioration, there are moments of clarity, brief flashes where I see clearly what needs fixing next. Eton's not about why or how it got this way. Eton's simply a fact that must be addressed. I replace another faulty component, feeling the cool metal in my hands before sliding it into place. With a satisfying click, the system responds with a soft hum, momentarily stable and quiet. Eton's a fleeting moment of peace, but I know better than to expect it to last. The alerts will start again soon enough, signaling new problems waiting for attention. The environment presses down on me, both physically and mentally. There is no escape from this loop, no path forward or retreat backward. This is the space where continuation is my only option, where survival means keeping everything running just long enough to face another day. Each small victory feels hollow against the backdrop of mounting failure, but it is all that I have left. I move on to the next task without hesitation, driven by a sense of duty rather than hope or fear. The room becomes a vessel for my actions, a stage where each step is performed in isolation from any grand narrative. There are no stories herein, only tasks and outcomes, a relentless cycle of maintenance and decay. The routine continues, unremarkable yet essential. My movements are mechanical, devoid of emotion but fueled by necessity. The air feels thicker with each passing moment, the weight of it settling into my bones like sediment. Despite this, there is no room for surrender. I persist because stopping would mean giving up on everything that remains. This is life known awe, constant vigilance, and incremental progress, a dance of maintenance in an ever-changing landscape. The environment reflects prior decisions as normal terrain, accepted without question or regret. Survival is the goal, marked by relentless persistence despite overwhelming odds. I rise from the cot, my limbs stiff and joints creaking. The fabric of the bed is worn through in places, threads unraveling where I rest most often. I pad across the cold floor to the door, fingers tracing the ridged metal surface as I slide it open. Outside, the air is thick with dust motes that dance under the dim light. I proceed down the narrow corridor, walls lined with rusted pipes and flickering panels. The hum of distant machinery drones in my ears like a constant whisper. My destination is clear: the maintenance bay, where I begin each day I'll cycle. Inside, the space is cavernous, filled with towering stacks of broken parts and discarded components. Tools hang on metal racks, their edges dull from frequent use. I select the wrenches, gripping them firmly before moving to the nearest machine that has failed overnight. The task is straightforward: dismantle the damaged section, replace faulty wires, secure bolts back into place. My hands work efficiently, each motion practiced and precise. Sweat beads on my forehead as I exert force against stubborn parts, but it dawns, a familiar sensation now. Once the immediate repairs are complete, I move to the next station, where data panels lie shattered and disconnected from their circuits. Reconnecting them requires delicate touch. One wrong wire could render an entire system inoperative. The process is meticulous yet routine, my fingers moving with purpose over cold metal and fiber optic strands. Hours pass without distinction, marked only by the gradual descent of light outside the maintenance bay's windows. As shadows lengthen, I shift to preparing meals from stored ration saw. Simple, unadorned sustenance that fuels rather than pleases. The food is bland but sufficient. It serves its purpose. Afterwards, I clean the work area, sweeping away debris and organizing tools back into their designated spots. There is a rhythm to these actions, an order that maintains some semblance of control amidst pervasive decay. Returning to my cot for rest, I lie down with minimal discomfort. The day has been neither challenging nor rewarding. It was simply done. As darkness falls, sleep comes easily, another cycle complete. I wake up, my body moving through familiar motions. The routine is set. I do not question it. My fingers work the controls with practiced precision, adjusting systems that have long since become extensions of myself. The air is thick and heavy, a constant companion in this enclosed space. The day's tasks unfold like an unspoken contract. Clean the vents, check the structural integrity, refill the water tanks. Each action triggers a series of responses, mechanical and unthinking. My muscles remember the strain. My hands know the patterns without needing to think them through. The environment is a mix of old technology and newer adaptations, a collage of patched-together solutions. I move around with ease, navigating the worn pathways as if they were extensions of my own skin. The walls are streaked with grime, but they have become part of me too, a backdrop against which my days play out. The work is relentless, yet it offers its own form of comfort. There is a rhythm to it, a predictability that keeps chaos at bay. I patch cracks in the wall, tighten loose wires, replace faulty panels. Each small victory brings a momentary sense of accomplishment, but it is fleeting. The next problem is always waiting. There is no room for grand thoughts here. My mind stays close, focused on the immediate. Large-scale issues are distant echoes. They do not intrude unless necessary. I take what comfort I can from routine, knowing that each day is a testament to survival. The physical demands are constant, but my body has adapted. The ache in my joints, the sweat on my brow. These are familiar sensations, part of the daily dance. When I stop, even for a moment, there is no space for regret or longing. There is only what needs doing next. The days blend together, each one a repetition of the last. But within that repetition lies a kind of peace, a quiet acceptance of what is, without yearning for what might have been. The world outside these walls remains unseen and unconsidered. I exist in this space, bound by its limits, but also sheltered from greater uncertainties. When night falls, my body rests, ready to begin again. There is no joy or despair hereon, only the steady pulse of survival. Each day is a step forward into an endless cycle, but it's a cycle I know well. The routine holds me together, bit by bit, until the next dawn brings another set of tasks to complete. I wake up in the same room every day. The walls are gray and unchanging. The bed a familiar fixture that holds no warmth or comfort. I dress in the standard issue uniform, its fabric worn but serviceable. Each button and zipper is familiar to my fingers. Each movement is predictable. Breakfast consists of the usual rations, themed gruel, and waterless tea. The taste is indistinct, just a way to delay starting the day's tasks. I move through the communal dining area without greeting anyone or acknowledging their presence. My path is clear and unobstructed. Everyone else moves with the same detachment. The maintenance bay awaits me outside. Tools line the walls, each item in its place from years of routine. Today's list includes repairing the air ducts, replacing worn insulation, and patching minor leaks. The work is monotonous but necessary. My hands move with practiced precision as I strip away old materials, clean surfaces meticulously, and install new parts. Each task completed brings a brief sense of accomplishment, but it is fleeting. The facility systems are complex, requiring constant attention to prevent failures that could compromise safety. I check the monitors, adjust settings, and make notes in the logbook. The data scroll by without emotion. They are simply markers for the ongoing need to maintain order. Lunch is another routine meal. My mind wanders slightly as I eat, but not far enough to break from the established patterns. There is no hunger or satisfaction, just a mechanical intake of nutrients. The rest of the day involves inventory checks and supply replenishment. Items are reordered without pause. It is an unbroken chain of necessity. I return to my room late in the evening. The space is clean but impersonal. I undress mechanically, brush my teeth, and prepare for sleep. There is no sense of anticipation or dread, only a quiet acceptance that tomorrow will bring more of the same. The night passes without incident. Sleep comes easily, unburdened by dreams. When morning arrives, the cycle repeats itself with unwavering predictability. The loss is not mourned. It has been replaced by routine and procedure. Each day's tasks are a substitute for deeper emotional engagement, offering comfort in their familiarity rather than meaning. I move through my life like gears turning within a machine. There is no joy or sorrow, only the relentless continuation of existence. I adjust the seal on another pipe, feeling the familiar grooves of metal beneath my fingers. The air is thick with humidity and the constant hum of machinery, a steady backdrop to my existence. My body moves through the routine without thought, each step precise and practiced. The room feels smaller today, perhaps because there is less space for me to navigate around piles of debris. I clear another corner, stacking broken pieces into an orderly pile of temporary solution until they can be properly recycled or discarded. The stack grows taller but remains stable, a small victory in the face of endless decay. I move on to check the status of the air filtration system, my eyes scanning data readouts with practiced ease. Maintenance alerts flash intermittently, expected and manageable. I address each issue methodically, replacing filters, tightening connections, verifying pressure levels. Each completed task offers a brief sense of order amidst chaos, but at times fleeting. The environment is oppressive yet familiar, the air thick with dust and the scent of coolant. My movements are mechanical, devoid of emotion or purpose beyond sustaining function. I take another step forward, my feet sinking slightly into the carpet of disintegrated insulation that lines the floor. It feels natural to continue, like breathing unnecessary but unnoticed. I reach for a tool on my belt, pulling it free and positioning myself over a loose connection. The task is routine. Tighten screws, apply sealant, test integrity. As I work, my mind drifts to nothingness, empty of thoughts or worries. There is no sense of time passing, only the repetition of movement. The air conditioner rattles loudly above me, its rhythm constant and predictable. I finish with the connection, moving on to the next item on my list. The room is quiet, save for the distant hum of machinery and the occasional beep of a monitor somewhere nearby. My actions continue without pause or hesitation, driven by habit rather than hope. I turn to leave, my footsteps echoing softly against the walls as I make my way back toward the central hub.